Jai. Welcome to Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Mission Wednesday evening Bhagavad Gita class. Haribol. Is that Sudarshan?
Yeah, no, it's Christian.
Hi.
Oh, hello, Christian.
You're just Christian, guys.
I went to get the thread, man. It's not there.
It's not there?
I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm gonna text Josh. Maybe I don't know if he's screening. I thought I hid it under that cushion.
Okay.
So I'm gonna text him and see if it's there. I'm sorry. Maybe you can make another one.
It's fine. We'll talk about it later. Thank you for joining, Krishna.
Do you want to lead, Krishna? Why are you sitting all the way over there?
Because of my eyes, I don't want to leave. I don't like to. You don't like to be what? Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakti Sadma
Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakti Sadma
Abando Mui Savadana Te
Bando Mui Savadana Mate
Hara Prasade Bai He Baba Todiyaya
Jahara Prasade Bhai He Baba Tariya Jai
Krishna Prati Hoy Jana Hoy Te
Krishna Prapti Hoy Jaha Hoy Te
Guru Mukha Padmavatya Sri Koriya
Guru Ka Parvata Aitya
Harana Koriya Maneya
Adana Kori Hamane Asha
Shri Guru Charane Ati Se Utamadashi
Shri Guru Charane Rati Se Utamagati
Ye Prasare Pure Sarva
Se Prasade Pure Sarva Asha
Chakshudana Diloge Jane Jane Prabhu Se
Chakshudana Viloge Jane Jane Prabhu Se
Divya Gyan Jire Bhakti Master, the abode of pure devotional service. I bow down to those lotus feet with great care and attention. My dear brother, my dear mind, it is through the grace of the spiritual master that we cross over this material world.
Can you hand the vows of the spiritual master, one with your heart, and do not desire anything else? Attachment to the lotus feet of the spiritual master is the first means of spiritual advancement. By his mercy, all desires of spiritual perfection are fulfilled.
Krishna, do you want to read?
Yes.
Read what's there?
3.
Yeah.
He who has given me the gift of transcendental vision is my Lord, birth after birth. By his mercy, divine knowledge is revealed within the heart, bestowing loving devotion and destroying ignorance. The Vedic scriptures sing of his character.
A spiritual master, ocean of mercy and friend of all fallen souls. You are the teacher of everyone and the life of all people. O Master, be merciful unto me and give me the shade of your lotus feet. May your glories now be proclaimed throughout the 3 worlds.
I have surrendered. I have surrendered unto your fearless lotus feet. Please give me your mercy, O Sri Gurudeva, Savior of the fallen. Please give me your mercy. You are the Savior of the lowly fallen souls. All glories to you, Sri Gurudeva.
Aye. Hari Bol. What page are we on? 155?
We only read through verse 6.
Oh.
One.
Chapter 9, right?
Yeah, chapter 9. Did we go farther than that?
I don't know. This one is just on that. This marker is there, but I don't know. Doesn't matter.
Chapter 9?
Chapter 9, yeah.
Chapter 9.
So you're saying 152? 152.
I almost feel like we just start chapter over.
Okay.
It's such an important chapter.
All right.
I don't know how long it is. Well, I don't think it goes back. Okay, so we're going to read chapter 9 today. Chapter 8 was entitled Sanskrit Rāja-guhya-yoga.
Okay.
Chapter 8 is primarily about Paramatma. Krishna is explaining that there's a conscious potency within every tiniest aspect of the nature that we find ourselves surrounded by, and within ourselves. Within Jiva, there's also super soul. So there's nothing that exists that isn't permeated by a conscious aspect of divinity. That's called Paramatma. So we can say we are always inextricably linked with our super soul. The Lord is with us at all times. We have to dive deep inside to find that truth, and also to find it in everything that we find around us. And Taraka means protector. So Guru Maharaj talks about this idea that you have to start to see your reality in a positive way. Start to find sweetness within it. So Taraka Brahma means there's some protective divinity that is within everything. And we have to come in contact with that aspect of reality. Generally, we're coming in contact with the plane of our own exploitation, where we try to take something and then we get smacked back. And then we're like, wow, reality is really bad. But that's actually not the case. We have to come into contact with something deeper. So Taraka Brahma Yoga, Krishna's explaining Paramatma. He's already explained Brahman, his Brahman aspect before. And then he's explaining Paramatma. And then in chapter 9, he becomes very clear. Raja-guhya-yoga. Guhya means hidden. Raja means royal, or you can say the topmost hidden yoga. And at the time that Krishna is saying this is unprecedented knowledge, where Krishna explains Bhagavan himself, that underneath, as a foundation of Brahman and Paramatma, is himself, Bhagavan, the personal Lord. So chapter 9 is really important. You can say, fulcrum point within this earth. Because all understanding of real relationship with reality has to move to Bhagavan consciousness, God consciousness. So, chapter 9, very important, and we're going to read it now. And it's very interesting when you read Mahabharata, because most of the sadhus that appear in Mahabharata, they're actually like seeking for Brahman consciousness, which is this sort of abscissa point between where you get out of material, the material like world that's sweeping you up, and move into this point of sort of unified peace, unified equilibrium. And that's what most of the sadhus in Mahabharata are seeking after. So when Krishna is saying this, it is a hidden truth, right? It is guhya. It is not known. It is a fresh, revolutionary thing that he's speaking in Bhagavad Gita in the context of the time of Mahabharata. Okay. Then we'll begin. Read the Sanskrit together. Dandavad Jai Shri. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Idam tu te guhyatamam, page 150. Pravaksham yanasuyave jnana vijnana sahitam yadgyatma mokshase shiva raja vidya raja-guhyam pavitram idam uttamam pratyaksha vagamam dhamyam Shisham Ashadadana Purusha Dhammasyasya Parantapa Aprakyamam Nivatante Mrityu Samsara Vajmani.
Didn't we read this last week?
We did.
150.
I'm just going to read them again. We only read like 6 verses, I think.
That's okay.
So we can have the whole
Yeah.
the whole chapter. The Supreme Lord said, I now reveal to you who are without envy this most hidden treasure of knowledge of pure devotion, with direct realization of me, knowing which you will be liberated from inauspiciousness, from all that is opposed to devotion. Know this to be the King of secrets, the King of knowledge, supreme, pure, and imperishable. It is known by direct realization, by one eager to serve me. It is the perfection of religion, and it is very easy to practice. O conqueror of the enemy, men who have no faith in this hidden treasure of devotion to me are unable to reach me, and so they remain wandering on the path of death in the material world. Hare Krishna. So, the King of Secrets, the King of Knowledge, supreme, pure, and imperishable. We're about to hear that. Yay. And it's also very important because in the first line, Krishna says, Anasuyave, means someone who has no envy. And that's also in the first verse of Śrīmad Bhagavatam. And the word in Bhagavatam is Mata, Nirmatsaranam. Thank you. Nirmatsaranam satam. Nirmatsaranam satam is what it says in the Bhagavatam. Truth can only be understood by someone who has no envy. What is envy? Envy, generally, we understand it to be, I look at someone else and I'm like, why do they have all that? I wish I had all that. But it's a little bit of a deeper word, like matsarya is like, I wish it was different. And that means you are coming to reality with an agenda. And because of that, you can't know the truth. Right? You're always going to be taking everything in and bending it to what you are, what your priorities are. And seeing good and bad in relation to that. So, Matsarya or Anusuyava, like that is the foundation of an authentic search for truth. You have to come to reality with no agenda and accepting what it is. Okay, Jai Shri Krishna. Any other thought? All right. 4, 5, 6. Maya tatam idam sarvam jagad avyakta murtina matsthani sarva bhutani nachaham teshvavasthitaha nacha matsthani bhutani pashyame yogamaishwaram bhuta brahna cha bhutastho mamatma bhuta bhavanaha Yatha kasha sthito nityam vayu sarvatra go maham tatha sarvani bhutani matsthani tyupadharaya.
This entire universe is pervaded by me and my unmanifest form, and all beings are situated in me, yet I am not in them. Again, they are not in me. Behold my supreme mystical power of inconceivable oneness and difference, achintya-bhedābheda. I, myself, am the mainstay and origin of all beings, but I am not in them. Know that as the mighty wind blowing everywhere rests always in the sky, similarly, all beings rest in me.
Can I say something about these verses?
Yeah.
I heard these verses. These are a little mysterious for me. I have this is okay.
Yeah.
Or maybe for the kitchen.
Yeah, for the kitchen.
So, but then I heard Srila Guru Maharaj saying, there's achintya-bhedābheda. Everything is inconceivably one and yet separate. He said, only Krishna knows the dividing line. And I never, I just kept that in my. But here Krishna's saying, I'm in them and yet I'm not in them. They're in me. Only he really understands that. That is within his domain of understanding. It's all. He's free. There's no, I'm in there and I'm not in there. This is all according to his will. I just kind of got a little bit of more, maybe, hopefully, insight into that. Remembering what Srila Guru Maharaj is saying, that he's really indefinable, actually. And we can't say, oh, he's like this, he's like this. Guru Maharaj said, everything that you have been telling the world about Krishna can be falsified. If he says it, except that thing. But anyway, that's a little esoteric, but I think it's something to contemplate.
I won't understand achintya at this point. But it's a mysterious thing, but it has to be understood that Krishna, we're dependent upon Krishna, we rest within him, but he's not dependent upon us, is what that means. And we are within him. Everything is within him. Everything, as he said previously, I think in chapter 7, everything rests upon me like pearls on a string. So that consciousness has to come to the forefront. Everything is resting upon him, and we are within him. So really true understanding of reality always has the Lord in mind. Okay, then one more. Oh, wait, sorry.
I think I did.
Oh, yeah, you did. Okay, well, that's beautiful. Okay, verse 7. Sarva bhutani kaunteya prakritim yanti mamikam kalpakshaye punastani kalpadau visrijamyaham prakritim swamavashtabhya visrijami punah punah bhutagramam imam kritsnam avasham prakritir vasat nachamam tani karmani nibadnanti dhananjaya udasinavadasinam asaktam teshu karmasu.
O son of Kunti, at the end of the millennium, all beings are merged in the material nature of three modes, which is my external potency. And at the beginning of a new millennium, I make them manifest again. I control my potency of material nature to repeatedly manifest the multitude of beings who are helplessly controlled by their natures. O conqueror of wealth, I remain detached and situated as neutral in the cosmic manifestation, sustenance and withdrawal, and these functions cannot bind me.
Any thought on that question? One thing I think is maybe to call out when Krishna says the multitude of beings are helplessly controlled by their natures. And like, how do you square that with free will? It's a very interesting thing. And the understanding is that when we establish an incorrect relationship with the reality we find ourselves in, we're in a pattern of a particular consciousness, and it's not just limited to this earth. If we were born in like another dimension in our next life, and we have the same sort of pattern, we're just going to extract it upon the next, set of reality that we perceive, even though it's different than this one, right? If we're born in a smaller body, we would just extract it on the little small circle that we're in, right? It's just this pattern of exploitation that you're in. And the result of exploitation is very clearly explained, is that you become controlled. And it's such a fascinating thing. Because, let's just say, you get a problem. I mean, a good understanding, Gurudev said, all of this type of exploitive relationship is based on addiction. Srila Govinda Maharaj said. And it's like, when you engage in a certain type of exploitive gratification, you become addicted to it. And then what happens? It controls you. So you, instead of being this free being of intention, become an absolute slave to these urges that come inside of you. And then you say, oh, I'm free. And it's like, dude, you're like, no, not even close to anything free at all. Right?
Bondage.
Total bondage. And we hold on to it. One of the most fascinating things, you can see somebody like, on an addiction show or something like that, when they're just like living in cardboard and just like, all day, whenever they get their thing and whatever. And you're like, hey, free treatment. It's time to go. And they're like, get the F away from me, man. Like, I'm loving, like, I'm good. You know what I mean? Like, we're perpetuating this, like, cycle of bondage, and we become controlled by it. And one of the, major thrusts as you read the Gita over and over and over again is Krishna, like, communicating this necessity of starting to inject intention and as high intention as you can into your life. And in that way, become actually free. So, just interesting point. How these worlds manifest and these beings come in, they're just completely controlled by their pattern. And Nitya-bhedābheda. There it is. Okay. Verse 10. Oh, famous verse. Maya dhakshena prakritihi suyate sa characharam hetu nanena kamteya jagadhi parivartate avajananti mang mudha manushintam samasutam param bhavam ajananto mama bhuta maheshwaram moghasha mogha karmano moha jnana vichetasaha rakshasim asurim chaiva prakritim mohinim shrita.
O Kunteya, ordained by me, my illusory potency produces this universe of moving and stationary beings. Thus it is manifest over and over again. Not knowing the transcendental nature of my form of human features, ignorant persons blaspheme me, the Supreme Lord of all beings, considering me a mere mortal. Their hopes, acts, knowledge, and thoughts all in vain, such persons acquire the ignorant and demoniac nature, which leads to their downfall.
So Maya Adhyakshena Prakriti. Adhyaksha means my order. Maya, mine. Adhyakshena, order. Prakriti means the energy that makes up this world. By my order, the energy makes this world. And it's interesting as Krishna, manifests itself within this world. Many people don't recognize him. The Lord can come, and many don't recognize him. And that's, a tale as old as, any type of faith where, it's just amazing, like if you think about a personality like Jesus, who's coming into the world with good for all in his character and nature, and some people have a reaction to that of like, you need to die. Right? Like, the Lord can be right in front of you. And if your particular relationship with reality is a certain way, you're going to have this, like, instinct of, like, this, whatever that thing is, that's a problem. Like, we need to, like... and then Krishna says, yeah, and then what are you doing? Your hopes and thoughts, knowledge, everything is just useless. And down and down and down into the asuric and demonic, demonic and asuric nature. Okay, verse 13. Māhātmya-nastu māṁ partha daivim prakritim ashritaha bhajantyānanya manaso gyatva bhutadim avyayam Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dridha vritaha namasyantascha mam bhaktya nityayukta upasate jnana yajnena chapyanye yajanto mam upasate ekatvena prithakvena bahudha vishvato mukham.
But O Partha, the great-hearted souls take refuge in the divine nature, and they wholeheartedly worship and adore me, knowing me as the eternal origin of all. They continually chant my glories, strive to learn spiritual truths about me, and faithfully follow the devotional practices. Bowing to me and worshipping me with devotion, they aspire for their eternal relationship with me. Others perform the knowledge sacrifice and worship me in oneness. Others worship me in differentiation, and yet others worship me in a multitude of ways as the universal form.
Satatam kirtayantam. It's kind of nice. They do kirtan about me, chant my glories. That's how that's translated. Satatam kirtayantam mam. They're always doing kirtan to me. Yatantascha dridha vrata. Dridha means determination. They're determinedly following their practice. Namasyantascha mam bhaktya. Very beautiful. Chanting his names, worshiping him. And then it's interesting in 15 because he's saying they perform knowledge sacrifice. It means the extent of the gathering of knowledge, of intellect, is Brahman. Krishna is saying they worship me in oneness. They realize that there's a unity to everything. So by following the intellect, you're going to get to this point where you realize that there's a unity to everything. But that's the lowest level realization of divinity. Not that it's not true. There is a unity to everything. But it's not the final truth. So Krishna's like accommodating everything. He's like, oh, some people worship me like that. They see the unified Brahman. And some people see that there is divinity in every aspect of the variety. And that's Paramatma. And so some worship me in differentiation. And then others worship me in a multitude of ways as the universal form. So the next chapter, well, actually not the next chapter. Chapter 11 is the universal form. It means to see the Lord within every aspect of this universe. Part of it, yeah, because that was when Krishna was saying, sometimes people worship some aspect of reality, right, to try and get, maybe they just want something, right? They have some intense desire, and they'll, understand that there's some divinity, some aspect of divinity in a heavenly way, right? And they're just going to ask for that. So Krishna's given them the faith for that.
What's the difference between the worshipping in differentiation and worshipping as the universe?
I think it's similar, but I think in terms of the differentiation is meaning Paramatma. The universal form can take many, many layers of worship. So it's like, you might worship because when you read the chapter on uniform, like in the universal form, Krishna's like the demigods, right? So you might like worship a demigod, or you might worship. If you Bhaktivinoda Thakur talks about this in one of his books that I'm forgetting right now, but he basically is saying people have faith in many, many different things. Someone might who lives in a forest, they might have some understanding, oh, this forest has some consciousness. Or they might understand, oh, this river has some consciousness. Or they might understand, oh, that star, there's something about that star, like whatever it might be. where they're saying, oh, that is, that's divinity. That's going to be the object of my worship, or the sun, right? Like whatever it might be. It just means like whatever aspect of that universal creation that they're worshiping Him in the end.
Could be even in other humans as well.
Sure. Yeah. I mean that was a long period in Yeah. So that's the way that I see it anyway. And in chapter 10, there is that question that Arjuna has where he's like, how can I see you within within my life, right? And then Krishna goes on this, there's like the 4 principal verses of the Gita are in the beginning of chapter 10. And then the rest of the chapter is just Krishna saying, you want to think of me all the time? You want to see me within your life? Like, well, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this. And they're like all these aspects of reality that are behind there. So, you can ascribe divinity to those. Bhaktivinoda Thakur was saying people might ascribe some divinity to the things that are around them or the things that they perceive. And then, start to understand, well, actually, everything's divine, right? And then have some higher and higher understanding that ultimately leads to personal reality. And then from that relationship with personal reality, then the whole world inverts, where you might see the world as negative and all these kinds of things that you have to get out of at the top level. When Bhaktivinoda Thakur was talking about this, like you start to see, oh, everything is actually spiritual, and the Lord is at the basis of everything. Okay, so then we'll do verse 16. Any thought on that, Indulekha? Aham kraturaham yagya swadhaham aham aushadham mantroham aham evajam aham agniraham hutam itaham asya jagato mata dhata pitamaha vedyam pavitram omkara riksama yajur evacha. It's 16 and 17.
I'm the Vedic Jyotishtama, sacrifice and 5 sacrifices of the Vishvadeva demigods and others as enjoyed in Smriti scriptures. I'm the oblation to the ancestors, the food and the mantra. I am the sacrifice ingredients such as ghee. I am the consecrated fire, and I am the act of offering. I am the father and the mother of the universe, the ordainer of the living beings, fruits of action, the father and the object of all knowledge. I am the purifying Om, the Rik, Sama, and Yajur Veda. Wow.
Okay, let's continue on this. As Krishna describes how to properly perceive the reality we find ourselves in. Gatir bharta prabhu sakshi nivasah sharanam suhrit prabhava pralaya sthanam nidhanam bijam avyayam tapamyaham maham varsham nigrihnanyutsrijami cha amritam chaiva mrityuscha sadasach chaham arjuna Traividyamam somapaputapapa Yagyairishva svargatim prarthayante Te punyam asadya surendra lokam Ashnanti divyan divideva bhogan.
And I am the goal, the maintainer, master, witness, refuge, guardian, and true friend. I am the universal manifestation, sustenance, and withdrawal. I am the reservoir. I am the original seed. I am the imperishable Supreme Lord. O Arjuna, I give heat, and the rain comes and goes by my will. I am immortality and death. I am truth and untruth. Persons who perform the fruitive ritualistic sacrifices prescribed in 3 of the Vedas worship Indra and other demigods. In fact, they worship me, but in an indirect way. They drink the sacrificial remnants of the soma beverage, purify themselves of sin, and pray to attain the heavenly plane. As a result of their piety, they reach heaven and enjoy celestial pleasures.
I could just say something about this. I think that if we can remember these verses during our day, like during our life, because we have this idea that because you do this and then this thing is the result. But who says? Who says that by practicing pranayama one does this result and gets some yogic mystical powers? Who says that that works? We're thinking this is going to happen and I'm going to do this and then this is going to be a result. But that's all a potency. And that potency is the Lord's potency. Otherwise there's no reason why that works that way. It's very fascinating to think about this all, we would think that. And then, with that understanding, everything will become an offering. Because there's really no other reason why anything works the way it works. Why does the body grow from cell division? Who says? It could be any other thing. I was looking at a book on physiology once, and I was like, that's not explaining anything. It's just saying this happens and then this happens, but it doesn't explain why. Nobody knows why. And Krishna's saying, well, this is my potency. If they do these sacrifices and free themselves from sin and they drink the soma beverage and they attain heaven, but that's my potency. I say that works, and then it works. And that's what happens. I think that's really lovely.
I have a question.
Shoot.
Krishna says in verse 19 that he is immortality and death, that he is truth and untruth. How can he be untruth?
By Krishna's will.
It's one of the most beautiful conceptions of reality.
Inconceivable.
There's a very poetic class by Śrīmad Maharaj where he's describing the polarities that are within reality. This is one of the most wonderful ideas of the Lord that I've heard. Srila Guru Maharaj's words, where he says, there is polarity within unity. And that's the way to understand Godhead. And everything exists to show the greatness of greatness. Greatness has no greatness unless there is non-greatness. So all the opposites exist to highlight what is the real thing. They all have their service. So untruth has its service. And if nothing can exist outside of the Lord, then untruth has to exist by the will of the Lord. Right? You can say, like, how can we be in Maya if God is real? You know what I mean? It's like there has to be delusion in order to be non-delusion. right? The differentiating of things comes from the opposite of that thing, right? There's union, which means there must be separation, right? They're all these things have their necessity. They have their function within the churning of reality that's creating experience and taste. And they also have the field of... They're the field with which free will interacts. Of course, they're all coming from the Lord. So that's the way to view these things. You know, I wish you sent it to me, and I can't find it. But there's this time where Guru Maharaj is just like off the top of his head, he's speaking in the class, and he goes, "The darkness exists to show the light." You know, and he goes in this like very poetic thing where he just like says all these things all in a row, and it's very, very beautiful. But it must be understood, all these things and their opposites, they have a purpose, and the purpose is feeling. The purpose is the play. The purpose is the experience of everything. Everything exists with its opposite. And so reality is a unification of polarities.
It is very interesting because Krishna in the Gita is advising us to remember Him and to become aware of Him. And when we think about our free will and His will, when He wants us to remember Him, but we don't, and that makes us tell lies and be untruthful. Wow. That means that the Lord actually doesn't want us to remember Him for His play, right? So, the essence of what I'm trying to share is, does He actually want us back, or He just wants to play?
No. It's. I think it's a good question, and I think it's a question that's plagued philosophers for, you could say thousands of years. The answer is that free will means nothing if you can't illusion yourself. You see what I'm saying? If you choose to not, if you choose to look at the world as your playground for your own exploitation, you're not going to do that very well if all you're seeing is God everywhere, right? You have to have the option to not see Him. But you're choosing that option, right? And then your choice of the other option also has to have its test, right? Because, right, you have to be exerting the essence of yourself, which is your own will, to search for the Lord. Now, He's going to help you if you want it. If you have an actual pure desire. But of course, if you don't want to be bothered with God, that option is going to exist. It has to exist. Otherwise, there's no freedom. It's like, like some people when they're agnostic, they're just like, well, why can't He just show Himself to me if there really is one? I mean, I didn't see one, or whatever. And it's a good question, right? Because there's if there's this God dude, then why can't I just hey, are you there? Come on, hello. But it's not that easy. There has to be an option. There has to be an option either way, and that option has to have determination behind it. And that is what makes everything have value, right? Value, if value in consciousness has to do with your own, willingness to sacrifice. Sacrifice is what makes life have value, in fact, right? And Krishna says that earlier in the Gita and also coming up later in the Gita. everything has to have sacrifice. And if you want to think about a nice way to organize your life, a question is, what am I sacrificing for? Because that's actually what you're doing with your life. A lot of times we're not really even conscious of what we're intentionally sacrificing for, but that's actually what it means. And sacrifice means there has to be some choice of this or some choice of that your energy and whatever you have to burn is going toward. Right? So, illusion, you actually have to work a little bit. You know what I mean? You can't become addicted without trying a little bit. You have to sacrifice for that, right? You got to sacrifice your family. You got to sacrifice all your money. You got to sacrifice. You're doing some serious sacrifice for that addiction. And it's the same way the other way around. You have to sacrifice to see the Lord. But the option to not see Him has to be there, right? Otherwise, there is no motion of the soul. There's no reality. There's no if He's just I'm God and you guys do what I want. You know what I mean? And everyone's like, you know what I mean? There's no taste in that. It has to be an honest and loving transaction. And ultimately that's what Krishna's advocating, as this book goes on. Have an honest and loving transaction with me. Use your intention and put it toward me. Tell me, Haridev, what's your thought? Or tell us, Haridev.
Well, I'm going to tell you two things.
Okay.
First, I loved the question that we can use to organize our lives. What are we sacrificing for? And second, what you said makes me feel and think that what perpetuates reality is not only the Lord, but it's also His relationship with His Jiva devotees.
Well, I didn't hear what you said right before reality.
What perpetuates reality? Perpetuates
okay.
Reality is not only the Lord, but Himself. Is that
perpetuates? Yeah.
Perpetuates. Is that a proper conception? That it's not only Himself, the one who perpetuates reality.
By His will, yes, that's absolutely true. And Gurudev, I heard Gurudev say that. And it's said in the Gita, in the chapters before this, that the living beings themselves and their desires are also what's creating this world. That is the perpetuation of the reality we find ourselves in is something that we're participating in. And at the very deepest level, we can say Bhakti is the cause of reality, right? So the devotees, ultimately, Shakti, Sri Radha, is creating reality for the service and play of the Lord. So that's the very finest hidden truth that even Gurudev says, even Krishna is shy to say until Śrīmad Bhagavatam, where he shows his pastimes with his devotees.
He had kind of the same question, does God even want us? And he said that...
You asked who?
Does God even want us?
Yeah, but who did you ask?
Divyashakti.
Divyashakti, okay.
And he said that Mahaprabhu, he wants to play out his distribution leela. And he wants to distribute the highest thing to the lowest people. And in one sense, for that, we have material world. So, we are the lucky ones. We're the special for Mahaprabhu.
Wow, that is an awesome answer. That's an amazing answer. Jai, thanks for sharing that. Anything else? Anyone? Okay, I think that's a really important question, Haridev. We have to grapple with these questions where you're like, ooh, is it disrespectful if I say that? Or, you know what I mean? If it pops up in your head, you have to... I heard Gurudev say, there's not one question that doesn't have an answer. As long as we're sincere, we're actually searching for truth, then the question must be asked and the answer is there. That's just how it is. Okay. 21. Tetang bhuktva svargalokam vishalam kshine. Whoops, sorry. Tetang bhuktva svargalokam vishalam kshine punye martyalokam vishanti. Evang trayi dharmam manuprapanna kataratam kama kama labhante anaya shintayanto mam Yukasate Tesham Nityabhiyuktanam Yogakshemam Vahamyam.
After enjoying the vast heavenly plain, upon the exhaustion of their pious merits, they return to the human plane. In this way, persons desiring enjoyment who follow the Vedic rituals for demigod worship come and go. They undergo repeated birth and death in this material world. I bear the responsibility of acquiring and protecting the necessities of my fully dependent devotees who are always absorbed in thought of me and who worship me in every way.
So this idea in the first verse 24, kshine punye. Kshine punye means the punya is exhausted. Punya is an interesting word. It's just a concept. It means as you sacrifice, as you do, the rituals properly, all the forms of religion, but you're doing them with the idea of like, I need some enjoyment. You're going to accumulate punya, and that sacrifice, that ritual, whatever it is that you're doing, as the practice of your religion, means external religion. You're going to go to a higher place, and you're going to enjoy. And then that punya is going to get used up and you're going to go back down. And a lot of people are practicing religion for just some type of idea of like, can I just get some stuff? And like whatever it is, whether it's Christianity or Mormonism or something, there's always this sort of, what do you call it? There's like this thing in Christianity where they prosperity gospel. Okay, there's always a prosperity gospel in every single religion. Okay, because it works. You make some sacrifice, you do something, you do whatever you're supposed to do for God, and it's like, okay, here's some stuff, and you get this sort of like commensurate punya, and you have this relationship that's very mercantile with divinity. And you just kind of like, you're like, all right, I did a bunch of things, and now I got some stuff. Yay, stuff, yeah! And then you use it up, and you're like, oh my God, I need stuff. But Krishna's saying, like those devotees who are actually dedicated to me, I take care of everything. They just come into relationship with the Lord, loving relationship with the Lord, not mercantile relationship, but just give yourself, no other objective.
I remember being in London. Remember, Jeffrey, when we first moved to London? We were downtown by the school, and there's a gated community in Regent's Park that's very, very well, like really beautiful houses. It's gated, and on the gate there's a plaque, and it says, "For the wealthy and good." Synonymous words. It's like nobody's pretending that they don't think that way. They're just like, of course.
Yejanya devata bhakta yajante shraddhayanvitaha tepi mameva kaunteya yajantya vidhi purvakam aham hi sarvayajnanam bhakta cha prabhureva cha natumam abhijananti tatrena tasya vandite yanti deva vrata devam pitrin yanti pitri vrata bhutani yanti bhuteja janti madhya jino imam.
Fall to take birth again. The demigod worshippers, this is not on, is it? The demigod worshippers reach the demigods. The forefather worshippers go to the plane of their ancestors. And the worshippers of the spirits go to the spirits. But those who worship me come to me.
Oh, today? Yeah. Oh,
It's funny because I watched a documentary last night with Anjali about India a little bit, just like a little bit. And they were showing that festival and walking. I'm like, oh, I wonder what that is.
That is today, okay.
Srila Guru Maharaj said that, Srila Guru Maharaj said that Ganesh is the leader of the opposition party. No, he's like the, he's kind of like in the jail, there's going to be some officer that will take bribes. He says Ganesh is the officer in the material world who takes bribes.
And that's a perfect example. They're actually worshiping Krishna, but they're having some demigod in front of them, a universal being, and they're receiving some results. But it's very clarifying, because Gurudev would use this argument a lot, and we're lucky to live in a Christian culture where this is just like not an issue. But in the Indian culture, it's like an issue because they do have an understanding of the universe that's actually richer. There are powerful beings within the universe, and it is a vast universe. And you know what I mean? Those beings can actually give you some, boons. And people get caught up in all this, variety, and they're basically just expressing their desires. And interacting with these different aspects of the world with their intention. But Gurudev would say this a lot in Bengal. I heard him say it in Bengali to a lot of Bengalis, because in Bengali they have Kali worship as like really prevalent, and Kali is representing the material energy. And so they're worshiping the personification of material energy, which is really an intense personification. It's like, you're coming to her with some ask for exploitation. And she gives it to you, and then she takes your head. And these people worship her with this idea that, like, they're so desirous of this next bit of sense gratification. They're like, yeah, eventually it's going to come, and I'm going to have to pay for this with, like, my existence. And they're just kind of like, okay, but I really want stuff. And, Gurudev would say that to them. He's just like, wherever you're worshiping, that's where you're going to go. Like, wherever you're placing your conscious intention, you will go there. And Krishna's saying, if you place that toward me, you'll come to me. I mean, like, you could really, really want to, like, be a really good basketball player and, like, put all your life into it. You just don't got the goods in this lifetime, but you're just putting your intention, you're putting all your sacrificing. In your next life, or maybe in a couple lives in, you're going to be like the most amazing basketball player ever. Okay, you did it, and now all of that pulling up, there you go. Now you're back to, like, baseline. It's like, what are you actually utilizing that wonderful gift that you have of your intention? What are you utilizing it for? Okay, 26. Beautiful verse. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhaktipahritam ashnani prayatatmanaha yat karoshi yadashnasi yajjuhoshi dadati yat tapasyasi kaunteya tat kurushva madarpanam shubha shubha phalerevam mokshase karma bandhanai sannyasa yoga yuktatma mukto mam bhavishyasi. That's you, Nani.
If one offers me with devotion a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or water, I affectionately accept that offering of the clean-hearted devotee. O Konteya, whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer in sacrifice, whatever you give, and whatever vow you may keep, do everything as an offering unto me. Acting thus, you will be freed from bondage to action and its auspicious or inauspicious results. With mind selflessly linked to me, you will be perfectly liberated, and you will come to me. Can I just say one thing about that? It's so fascinating. We do all these things. We offer something, we buy a present for somebody, or you're doing so many different kinds of things. Excuse me. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer in sacrifice, or you think, oh yeah, but this has nothing to do with Krishna. This is something else. I'm just doing this other thing. But he's saying, no, that means karma, because you're doing this for some kind of other reason, another thing that you want to extract. And those are your reasons. But if you do it for me, then I will free you from that bondage. I will free you from that whole mentality. Whatever is wrong in the reason of your doing, I will show it to you. And you will be freed from that. It's all like chains. And we think, oh, I'm doing good, I'm going to give this person that, or I'm going to do something like this and that. But it's all got some motive. But if we're doing it as my Lord, I'm doing this thing, I offer this to you, and He will cut all that bondage and show so many things about why we're doing things that are not really actually honest. It's not really on the soul level. It has some motive and some reaction.
So when we say Raja-guhya-yoga, these two verses, this is the Rāja-guhya-yoga. Patram pushpam and then yakaroshi. Those two verses, this is the yoga. And when Krishna's saying, this is, remember in the beginning where he says, this is very easy to practice. That's what he's talking about. It's like, it's so sweet. You know? He establishes first, before he tells Arjuna, is, I'm the basis of reality. People worship demigods, they're worshiping me. Like I'm behind all of this. I'm heat, I'm cold, I'm like whatever you can think of, it's me. And then he says, and you're going to go where you put your consciousness. You want to go to me? If you worship me, you come to me. And then he says how to worship him. It's like the sweetest, most easiest thing. Whatever, like these simple things that everyone has access to. A leaf. Who doesn't have access to a leaf? Like everyone has access to a leaf. Like offer a leaf to him. What does that mean? It means like don't live your life without communing with the Lord. It's so natural and sweet. You don't have to do it in front of everyone. You don't have to do anything. It's like take a leaf. If you have some consciousness for freaking 10 seconds of your day, because you're all swept in all your other intentions that are all at war with each other and dissonant and right? But like we've got one moment of consciousness. Oh my Lord. This absolute miracle, this freaking leaf, which when I look at it is completely amazing, has its own unique texture and color, and like it's absolutely mysterious and amazing. I'm offering this to you. Or a little water, or a flower, right? Like fruit, something. Offer it to Krishna. Like in a real way, with your real intention, in your real day. And then what follows that? Actually, whatever you're doing, just offer it to me. Yat karoshi. Karoshi means to do something. What's the next? Ashnasi. Ashnasi means to eat. Whatever you're eating, offer it to me. Yat juhoshi. Are you making a sacrifice for something? You are. You definitely are. Everyone is. We may not even be aware of what we're making a sacrifice for. And that's one of the main points of Gita is like start to be aware what you're sacrificing for. You are sacrificing for something right now. You're going somewhere. You're becoming something. But yajjuhosi, it's like, can you offer your sacrifice? The dati, if you're giving something to someone, give it to Krishna. Yat tapasya, you doing something hard? Tapasya means to do something hard, some type of austerity. Yat tapasya, offer it to Krishna. Like, it's so sweet. Do everything as an offering to me. And that is it. That's the Raja-guhya-yoga. Patram pushpam palam toyam yome bhaktya. Right? Like, offer it to me in devotion. Prayachati. And, actually, whatever you're doing, offer it to me. Are you doing something? Are you eating? Are you making a sacrifice? Are you giving something? Are you doing something hard? Keeping a vow? Do it for me. That's the Raja-guhya-yoga. And that is actually, if you think about all the kinds of things that are out there, that's not hard. Because you're doing all these things anyway, right now in your life. Please, Didi. For sure.
What you hear really well is that, wow, I want, okay, then I need that love, that prema.
Yes.
And for that, of course, I don't have it, so I need to hanker for that.
Yeah. I mean, because Krishna is revealing himself, you can say, very plainly and clearly to the world in this chapter.
Yes.
And he's giving the most accessible practicing life that there is, which is you're living your life. You're doing these things. You're surrounded by these things. I mean, we're like literally surrounded by leaves right now. You know what I mean? It's like you have to enter into relationship with me. Don't live your life. And he's not saying, go live a different life. He's saying, Yat Karoshi, whatever you're doing, do it for me. Right? It means, because why? Wherever we are, we're also in him. He just established that. Like, don't live this life distinct and separated and cut off from me. Move into relationship with me. Right? And that's, you can say, maybe the beginning of what Mahaprabhu is teaching. Because ultimately that motion leads somewhere, like inconceivably profound. But that's what Ramananda Samvad is about. Right? That's what the, where does that all go? Yeah. And, and then prema has its own hierarchies within it. Yeah, please.
It kind of reminds me of when we're hearing about Vrindavan. Vrindavan is not worshiping the personality of Godhead, but within every tiny piece of dust is actually love is within that, and there is nothing that actually love is not within. We think that matter is something, like a thing, but it isn't. Everything is fully conscious, and that consciousness is full of love, and it's very simple. Why would Krishna want a leaf? Because everything is imbued with affection. He doesn't care whether it's a leaf or a demigod or a rich person or someone who's making changes in the world. It doesn't matter. That's the simplicity of divine love. It's really simple-hearted. It doesn't have this, I got to be important, or I can't offer any part of myself to the Lord. Because who cares about me? Why would he care about what I'm doing? It's not about that. It's really simple. And that, it's just a fact that this most insignificant thing is actually is full of affection. And it's just, we have to come in touch with that atmosphere that is reality. And we can't see it because we're so selfish. You can't see what you're exploiting. You can't see the reality of it. We can't. So that was just something that really struck me from this verse now.
Okay. We're after 8 o'clock. How much? How many verses? Oh my gosh.
There's so many things to discuss, and I don't think we should be in a rush. We can just finish it next time, because there's so many really significant verses here. Don't you feel?
Yeah. Well, and there's a long purport. Well, you know what? We can just go fast. That's the main. That's the. Yeah, you're right. Okay, so let's worship these verses. But that's the main core, and I think it's so beautiful because we can all bring this into our life a little bit more. It's just amazing when you actually try to remember Krishna all day, and then you take a stock of it at the end of the day. If you just literally write down how many times did I think of Krishna today, and you're like, Oh, 0. Wow. How did I do that? Saltamani. Yeah, thank you, Jeshri. It's I think it's an Arabic word that means the accounts. Gurudev liked that word. Because at the end of the Arabic traders that traded with India, at the end of the day, it's like, you better write down your saltamani. It's like, what did you get out? What did you get in? You better write it down every day, you know. And it's like, that's Gurudev advocated that you should have your own self-accounting at the end of the day. Like, I mean, it is unbelievable how you could look back on 4 hours. Like, let's just say at lunch you get a second to breathe and you're like, okay, how many times did I think of Krishna in the last 4 hours? And you're like, how? Like, I have this ideal. Like, I want to do it. And then it's just the whole day goes by and I'm like, oh, that guy and this thing and oh, yay, it worked. Oh, so hard. And it's just all this stuff. And you're like, I literally didn't think of the Lord once. So it's easy, but it's not that easy. Yeah. Yeah.
You know what helps to remember more often? Just remember how Guru Maharaj speaks. Guru Maharaj either speaks Krishna consciousness constantly, or otherwise, Gora, 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 Gora. When he pauses,
yeah, Gaur Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol, yeah, beautiful. That's very beautiful. That's mantra. Yeah.
We're coming in touch with a different atmosphere by offering. By offering, we're coming into touch with another atmosphere. We're coming in touch with the reality of these things, with a leaf, with water. All these things are of a divine nature, in fact, beyond the misperception of our senses. And by offering, we're actually coming in touch with that nature. We're becoming a participant in the world in which the reality of those things lives. That's my feeling about that very much.
Yeah. Okay, let's try to do this in 2 minutes. 29. Samoham sarvabhuteshu name dveshyosti na priyaha ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya mayite teshu chapyaham apichet sudaracharo bhajate mam ananya bhak sadhureva samantavya samyak vyavasito hiyasaha Kshipram bhavati dharmatma sasvach chantim nigacchati kaunteya pratijani name bhakta pranashyati. Okay, 29. I am equal to all, so no one is my enemy or my friend. Yet, for those who serve me with love as they are bound by affection for me, I am similarly bound by the tie of affection for them. Even if a very sinful person serves me exclusively with devotion, he should be regarded as saintly, for his resolve is perfect. There's a key principle Guru Maharaj always says, the ideal makes the man. So no matter what stage you are in existence, once you set this high ideal as your purpose, it doesn't matter how sinful and fallen you are. Then, 31, he swiftly becomes a person of virtuous practice and attains constant peace. O son of Kunti, declare to the world that my devotee is never vanquished. And this is the, you could say, conventional translation. There's another translation possible within the Sanskrit that was revealed by Bhaktivinoda Thakur in a dream. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. O son of Kunti, declare to the world that my devotee is never vanquished. One who declares this swiftly becomes virtuous and attains eternal joy. So the distinction here, just briefly, because this is a very fine point, but it's made by Guru Maharaj and very much appreciated by Guru Maharaj, that Bhaktivinoda Thakur made. You can say the person who has this ideal becomes a person of virtuous practice and attains constant peace. Arjuna, declare this to the world. But the other meaning is, Arjuna, declare to the world, my devotee is never vanquished. And one who declares this swiftly becomes virtuous and attains joy. So if you see the high side of the devotee within their ideal, and you declare that to the world, you will become virtuous and attain eternal joy. So, very beautiful revelation from Bhaktivinoda Thakur, that for those who have this ideal in their heart, that we should see the virtue within them, no matter their current position, and declare that. And then we will be benefited by that. And it's a very, very beautiful thing. So, again, Guru Maharaj should say, the ideal makes the man. Because it's only a matter of time between where that person is and where their ideal is. Doesn't matter really where they are now. And Gurudev also had us chant this shloka. Hoyachin hoivin prabhur jato bhaktajan. Means, I bow to all the Vaishnavas that are, all the Vaishnavas that have been, and all the Vaishnavas that will be. I bow to all of them. Okay. Then, 32. Mam hi partha vyapashritya yepe syu papayonaya striyo vaishyas tathas shudras te piyanti param gatim. Hare Prabhu. (32).
O son of Partha, Prita, persons of low birth, women, merchants, or laborers, they too attain the supreme destination by taking full refuge in me.
And this is important to understand, because in that particular society, the understanding was, if you were of a lower birth, if you were a woman, if you were like a merchant, a person who's dealing with money, you had no access to the spiritual practices. That was only for brahmanas. But Krishna is saying anyone has access to this. It doesn't matter who you are or where you are. Everyone can do this. And they will attain the supreme destination. Simply take refuge in me. Okay, then, 33. Kim punar brahmana punya bhakta rajarshayas-tatha anityam asukham lokam imam prapya bhajasvamam manmana bhavamad bhakto madhyaji mang namaskuru mame vaishyasi yuktvaevam atmanam parayana. Iti Shri Mahabharate Shatasahasrang Sanghitayang Vayasikyam Bhishma Parvani Srimad Bhagavad-Gītā Supanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Sangvade Rāja-guhya-yoga Nama Navamo Dhyayaha.
The supreme goal. Therefore, worship me, since although this human body is temporary and a place of suffering, it is attained only after many births, and it affords the best opportunity to render devotional service to me. Always think of me, be my devotee, always worship me and offer obeisances to me. Thus, offering yourself to me and taking refuge in me, you will come to me.
Jai. Beautiful.
End of chapter 9, the hidden treasure of devotion from the conversation of Sri Krishna and Arjuna in Srimad Bhagavad-Gita Upanishad, the yoga scripture of transcendental knowledge in Bhishma Parva of Sri Mahabharata, the holy scripture revealed by Srila Vyasadeva in 100,000 verses.
Jai.
Where did the other guy go?
Okay. Okay. Jai Srimad Bhagavad Gita Upanishad Ki Jai. So you can say that Krishna is saying, you have a human birth right now. You're going to live a life, you're going to do things, you're going to have to do some sacrifice, some austerity. You're going to be surrounded by leaves and water and flowers and fruits. Start to offer those to me. You can do this as a human with consciousness, with intention, with purpose. So simple, so beautiful. And then kind of reinforced and maybe in a new light, this last verse of the chapter, so beautiful. Manmana bhavamad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mame vaishyasi yukvaivam atmanam matparayana. Just think of the Lord. Be His devotee, worship Him, offer obeisance. Take refuge in the Lord, and you will come to the Lord. And remember, this is not a geographical coming to. The Lord is everywhere. It's our consciousness coming to the Lord. Yoga, connection, linking. So, by His grace. But now, the question becomes, did anyone ever read the Russian book Philokalia?
What?
Philokalia. It's like this Russian Orthodox practitioner. Very beautiful book. And his question is, how can I think of God 24 hours a day? And his journey to try to answer that question. So then when you hear this, when you say, okay, always think of me, and you're like, oh my gosh, all I have to do is think of God all the time. And that's when you actually start your spiritual life, and you're like, oh my God, I am not always thinking of God. Right? And that's when you got to start to do some practices, some more internal things. But so important, live your life not out of relationship with the Lord. In the privacy of your own life, not anyone doesn't even need to know. It's all in your heart to offer what your life is to Him. Okay, Jai Shri Krishna.
Exciting. I just want to add one more thing. I mean, every time we read Bhagavad Gita, we've been reading this Bhagavad Gita over and over and over and over again for so many years. But for the first time, I really realized that thing. Because when you, like, say you're just going to go, I'm just going to go do this thing because I really, I feel like I really want to do blah, 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 or I need to do this or something like that. And you think, well, okay, my Lord, I'm offering this to you. And all of a sudden you can realize just through that, oh, I'm doing this because I'm afraid of something. Or I'm doing this because I'm, I need, whatever the reason is, all these things can be shown in the light of the offering. And then we can see, oh, that's not really how I want to live my life. But otherwise we just do these things robotically. Like I do this and then I do that and I do that. And we don't really, there's so much progress in simply in offering things to the Lord. And then we can see. We have to do that. We have to come in touch with the Lord so that we can see what it is I'm doing in this plane. I don't even know. I'm so used to just having different reasons for doing this and another reason for doing that, and different, splayed intelligence. Anyway.
Jai Srimad Bhagavad Gita Upanishad Ki Jai. Jai, all the devotees reading Gita tonight ki jai.
Jai.
Sripad, Śrīla Bhakti Sundar Didi Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Jai, Paramahansa Thakur Śrīla Bhakti Rakshaka Śrīla Didi Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Jagat Guru Śrīla Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Bhagavan Śrīla Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Rupanuga Guru Varga ki jai. Go Premanande. Okay, so we're going to do Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Hare Krishna mantra. And then Mahaprasad. Aja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Advaita Gadadhara Vasari Gaur Bhakta-vrinda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara Vasari Gaur Bhakta-vrinda, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Mahaprasad ki jai, and Damodar Prabhu ki jai. Go Premanande.
Jai, all the online devotees. Jai. Fortunate to have the association of Shanta Didi, of Bhima Krishna Prabhu, of the Sharma family in California. Sharma family. And Kyo. Haribo. Jai. Haribo.
I'm sure it is special before I can see it.